Welcome to the Business Value Exchange. I'm Helen Beckett, the community moderator, talking today to Chris Airey, who is currently the CDO at the Student Loans Company, was formerly CIO at the Lifestyle Services Group, and has worked in a number of other roles across both sectors, I believe. Hi, Chris. Is that correct?
That's correct, Helen. Yes. Good morning.
Good morning to you. You've been brought in by the Government Digital Services to create an exemplar service at the Student Loans Company. What are currently the key challenges that CIOs are facing in government as they undertake digital transformation?
Yeah, sure. So the Government Digital Service is looking to achieve transformation of public services. And if you look at the gov.uk website, that's meant to be the homepage almost of the government and access to its services. Mm-hmm. And at heart, there's a lot of work being done by GDS to get all of the government agencies and government departments to start to use that entry to what they do. It gets more complicated in the end organisations like student loans, because we then have to align the way we deliver our solutions around services. So, for example, Apply for Student Finance is one of our key services. And we have to make that accessible and understandable, and we have to make it look the same as the rest of the gov.uk. So behind that, we now need to develop in public sector a lot of skills that you might imagine should sit in a digital agency. So UX skills, digital developers, continuous integration testers. There are a lot of things that you wouldn't imagine public sector IT to be.
Wow.
Traditionally, you've imagined it as go and buy a service from a big systems integrator. So the transformation we've had to deliver is around attitudes, it's about design skills, it's about business and IT working together in service-aligned multidisciplinary teams, and it's about buying into this agenda of agile and continuous improvement. So in terms of the exemplar, I mean, Student Loans has an exemplar live, and we have to deliver the second one by March next year. And one of the key things we've got to do is recruit our own digital capability, because in the past the developer was seen as the outsourced offshore purchase, outsourced contract for risk, the end of the food chain, and now they're actually the heart of the agile delivery process.
That's a real smorgasbord of skills that you've outlined there. It's interesting because often within the government service, for an outsider looking in, there may be a stereotype of the government agency delivering a few transactions in the same way, and that digital disruption is about doing it differently. But you're talking about a place that's really open to transformation here. Are you finding that it's a torchbearer for change, or is it quite resistant? What is the culture there?
I think, like all of these things, you don't realise how profound they are till you're partway through the journey. So recruiting permanent digital developers is seen as challenging in this era of austerity. Mm-hmm. However, in the end, it will achieve better value for money for the public sector, because we'll have developers who understand what student loans do, how its systems work, and be able to do change more cost effectively. Now, that's a belief system. And that's one of the key things that Government Digital Services is bringing along, which is it's better to have control over what you're trying to deliver than try and outsource to a third party a belief that they may know better than you.
So a belief system sits at the heart of this fundamental change. That's very interesting you raised that. I wonder what advice you might give a CIO maybe contemplating doing a role in government. I know there are many interesting opportunities available at the moment, and the government is recruiting quite seriously. What might you advise or counsel a CIO who's previously, or who's quite new to the government, to think about, to bear in mind?
Yeah, so the private sector experience which I've had at Yodel, Lifestyle Services Group, Swiss Re, etc., sort of brings this ability that if you have a business case, that's all you need to do to get change mobilised. When you enter the public sector, the stakeholder relationships are far more complicated than you ever imagine. There isn't just one shareholder. For example, Student Loans is a non-profit making limited company, partly owned by BIS. They have their own digital capability. We have the Government Digital Service involved. We have the Scottish, Welsh, Northern Ireland legislators involved in our organisation. Getting change done requires a patience and investment in stakeholder relations beyond what I think you need in private sector. And the trick is actually sometimes you don't realise how many there are.
That's a complex ecosystem of stakeholders that you described there, and one I can imagine has been navigated very sensitively. So many thanks, Chris Airey, for talking us through those differences today and your advice to CIOs.
Okay, thank you.